common sense. I'm not aligned with any of the other people you often see here, but from what I can tell, they raise sound points regarding the issuance of permits. This is just another pebble on the mountain of evidence that there is extreme public misconduct. Perhaps you've spoken to a lawyer who's told you that everything is fine. This is not even close to fulfilling your responsibility, especially given the fact that public lawyers are engaging in misconduct. What you should have done is taken the issue to the next highest level and then to the level above that, but you didn't. What you should do now is take the issue to the highest level. Make public statements asking the governor to do a military level investigation of public misconduct.
That was good.
That was a good comment.
Thank you very much. Next speaker is Ahmed Alef.
Do you need the mic or you got it?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Thank you.
Good morning. That was really good advice. I'm just here to say continuously, and it's true, the Bureau of Street Services and Scientology is putting the city at risk because they actually changed. You have it very set in this, city attorney's office said that they cannot prevent pedestrians. But they did, they changed it, even though that's what their law is. They changed it and they said they made it for the shrine, the shrine event to keep Laura away from seeing her father. They made it where only local people can come. And then had outside entities, Scientology, actually checking addresses and IDs to see whether or not they were local or not. That is putting the city at huge risk. And Michael is right. I mean, it should go above because whatever, it's going to end up in lawsuits. They can't do that. Now, if you got, and we need you to please stop doing any permits until this is all resolved. None.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do we have Laura then?
She's coming. She's almost here.
Next speaker, we have Henry Marie.
Good morning. There's some new faces here today. My name is Henry. I help run a website called Audit the Government. I recently submitted a misconduct profile on Director of Street Services called Keith Mose. You can check it out. I'll have cards if you want to talk to me afterwards and the information, but it's available for public records as well. Keith Mose has been acting on behalf of a religious organization, granting favoritism by issuing unlawful special events permits, closing down a public street known as L. Ron Hubbard Way over at the intersection of Sunset and Fountain Avenue at the blue building known as the Scientology campus. It's been going on for years, and in fact, Keith actually has direct family relatives that received religious services from Scientology and is doing this as a favor, and it's a clear violation of what we know as the First Amendment, where you have an entanglement with a government agency, with the religious organization. It's been going on for years, and unfortunately the city is going to get sued over this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have Jason now. Got it. Agenda item 8 and 9. Then we have Singh, LAPD.
Special study on feasibility established for ADA. One does it ensure that these new physical improvements of mobile accessibility are a true or a lie made by our local government, by our jackass city attorney, like the other jackass, Peter Thomas, for the record. Bunch of lying thieves. Well, here it is. Let's go above that, as you heard the speaker talk about lying piece of shits, criminal fucking corruption in Los Angeles. Let's go above that. Let's say fuck the permits to Scientology. Let's say go to hell, Scientology. Why should they override on the backs of hardworking motherfuckers in here who pay taxes and can't get permits? And by the way, I want accessibility for every motherfucker in the city of Los Angeles, fuck the mayor, fuck the city of Los Angeles, and fuck your mobility access assholes.
Thank you very much. Let's transition to our virtual platform.
Thank you, President Peng. We'll start with Children's Voices Matter, followed by Georgina McPhee.
Greetings, everyone. On or about November 13, 2025, Aaron Matthews, 57-year-old Scientologist OT8, was found guilty of essay of a child less than 12 years old, with more than 30 incidents stretching over a year. I guess children are not adults with small bodies. If permits were given to men hurting children in Scientology, public works would give out a lot of permits. Thank you. I appreciate what you do. I yield back my time.
And we'll go next to Georgina McPhee, followed by Gigi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, if any other entity within the city was issued a permit that they violated, and then issued another permit that they violated, and then multiply that by 100 times, you would eventually stop giving them permits, or you would at least admonish them in some way with fines, or, changing the rights of their permits for future permits. You have yet to do that for Scientology. They violate the terms of the permits continuously. There hasn't been a permit that they haven't violated some aspect of, and yet you keep issuing them permits. Why is that? Why are they being given preferential treatment despite the continuous abuses and violations? They are not allowed to stop private citizens from walking down a sidewalk, forcing them to identify themselves if they're not the SS. They're not allowed to accost individual citizens walking on a public sidewalk. It needs to be addressed. Thank you.
We'll move next to Gigi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so first, Keith Mosey, however you say his name, he needs to be replaced. Also, what Georgina was talking about, think of all the people or all the entities that get in trouble when they violate a term of a contract or a permit. They get in trouble. But when Scientology get in trouble, they never get in trouble and they violate every single permit that you've issued to them. There's video proof, there's witnesses that keep telling you what we see. And you don't do anything about any of the violations, you just keep giving them permit after permit after permit.
Yeah.
Why are these other people, other entities getting in trouble? Scientology should be getting in trouble. You should be treating everything as equal. They get special privileges, but why do they get them? They're not special. I yield right now.
And President, that concludes public commentaries.
Thank you very much. With that, we will close the general public comment portion of today's meeting and move forward with multiple agenda item public comment. The board will provide an opportunity for members of the public wish to speak on more than one agenda item. There is multiple agenda item comment period for up to a minute per item, up to a total of 3 minutes per meeting. This is the only time to speak on more than one agenda item. And please identify the items that you speak on when you are called. We will start with in-person speakers. First up, we have Otter Elect.
I got you.
Thank you.
I'm very happy to see Brandon that's on the agenda item. To me, it feels like that's really good progress. I hope that will include a better accounting for what's going on during public comment. Like I said, I understand there's a balance. You don't have to put every word said or everything, but it would be nice to have a record of what, not just our concerns. Although we've been coming here, was it June or July, 2 years, long before I knew we were even on this board. Who was here that long was DJ, who's been there since the beginning. But so I hope we make progress, because in 20 years from now, when we're looking at what happened in public Public Works, there's no accounting that for 2 years people came talking about the egregious violations of one entity, and yet how fast or slow things got resolved. It's a historical record. And I will, acknowledge, because I agree, I do appreciate each and every one of you, and I appreciate this commission. This is nothing personal. We just want the city to do better, and I do believe that there has been effort and some movement. They're not getting, they used to have endless shutdowns, and they don't anymore, and I appreciate that. But there's still the fact that they are changing your own rules without anything in writing or any permission to do so. And so we're asking for continued efforts. And so I also want to touch on the base of neighborhood councils, that they are not able to get enough, because what they're doing now, and I think you see the pattern, I'm really into the pattern, that they apply for everything at the last minute, and then, and they scramble without everything being done, and then they are granted. And of course, they violate every single one, including important things like fire lanes, Laura's dad's in there. She doesn't want her dad having to, being injured because the city's not enforcing the fire lane. Okay, and I don't want that either. We care about all the people inside those buildings. But neighborhood councils especially at the Shrine, that event really affected the entire community because they were shutting down the streets even though there was a game at USC. And students coming and going. So the neighborhood council may have really liked to have chimed in, but they were not notified. And if they were, I'd love to see that they were, but and I have stating evidence that the neighborhood was notified, and I don't even know how they got a shutdown in the streets because you have to have I was told a 51% interest. There has to be the neighbors have to agree to it, and I don't see any proof of that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker is Enrique Marie.
Good morning. I'll start with item number 3. So I do support and move forward with this. And I want to add a point of clarification that a lot of people don't know about the Granicus system. It is the system of record for every city agency. That includes neighborhood councils. The problem is that neighborhood councils, for the entirety of their existence, have not been included in the Granicus system of record. In fact, the ways neighborhood councils are forced to publish their meetings are to pay out of their own budget to host their own websites and maintain an active calendar to publish those events. Whereas every other city agency, which the neighborhood council, of course, is by charter officially a city agency, is not being pushed with the same burden. And their measly $30,000 a year that neighborhood councils each get, the website hosting alone is almost $1,000 per year, in addition to some of the other functions. And yet, this is already a service, a platform that the city provides for every city agency. And it goes beyond that. The Zoom platform that we're using right now is also entirely free. In fact, I have another investigation published on my website, auditthegovernment.org, where I explain through various CPRAs that the city is, in fact, denying neighborhood councils the access and the right to use the very same Zoom platform free of service to host their meetings, to host recordings, and that money has to come out of the neighborhood council's budget. That budget is we the people's budget. That money is supposed to be for neighborhood grants, for people that want to do community beautifications, that want to provide grants to after-school programs, a wide variety of other things that the city clearly does not do for its constituents. And so that is the big issue with item number 3 on this agenda. The other issue is, speaking on the minutes, they're supposed to keep a tally of who supports or denies an item. They don't have to keep a verbatim comment of what is said on each of those items, but they're supposed to keep a tally if you're for an item or if you're against it, because somebody at some point will go and make a public request to see who supported particular items and who didn't. Besides the video record that may be altered, the Granicus system cannot be altered. And so there's been times, in fact, with the David Salzberg case, where there was documented proof of the city doctoring literal video evidence from the city council and other committees that constituted a legitimate Brown Act violation. And so the city has a pattern or practice of doing this, but they cannot do so with the Granicus system. Each of those records is an immutable record that nobody on the board, the committees, or the councils can actually change. And so this is a big issue, and again, I'll be at the back if you want my business card to talk. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker is Singh Kaleki.
Yo. The only right motherfucker speaks the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God. So yeah, look at item number 3. Hear that discussion? Very elegant, very truthful, very factual. Except, what the fuck's going on here, man? Aren't you people doing your fucking job? Maybe the only person who knows their job is John Grant, but as far as I know, some of you don't know shit. Like on item 12, for example. What the fuck is this shit about? Small sidewalks. Small sidewalks, really? We got thousands, miles of fucking sidewalks in which this fucked up city, for the Olympics, does not have already accessible, right? Let me give you a scenario. Right here, on Spring and First at the LA Times. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Fix the fucking sidewalk. Fix the goddamn curb cut. Fix the ramp. What's so fucking hard about it? You're endangering the public. That's the problem. Look at item number, is it 12? Who fucking cares about bicycle repairs at a time like this? Who the fuck is stupid enough to get your 2 fat children on a bike and ride in the streets of Los Angeles and get hit by a car? We are the hit and run capital of the motherfucking world, and you want me to take my 2 fat girls out on the street on a bike so they can get killed? Not gonna happen. You want me to take my crippled ass on a bike on that fucking unsafe sidewalk in the streets while some jackass flies by on a what? Electric bike? Some dickhead rides by like Marquise Dawson on a scooter? Hell no. Sidewalks were meant for pedestrian access, not for this shenanigan bullshit that you already hear me talking about. Matter of fact, let me read it to the record, the full account. 25-0600S77. Adopt the budget recommendation for the Department on Disability Report developed to a establishing a fee for service program to support Americans with Disability Act, ADA, requirements to ensure that the physical improvements, mobile accessibility, and electronic services are reimbursed by other cities and departments, including properties and departments. So there it is, asshole taxpayers. You heard it from the asshole's mouth. When are you going to repair? When are you going to fix the infrastructure that only one goddamn president in this world can do? Donald J. Trump, thank you for the ice. Keep sending ice. I love ice.
Thank you very much. Our last in-person speaker for multiple items is Laura Evan.
Hi, good morning, board. I was late 30 minutes because I was waiting for a bus that didn't arrive until 30 minutes ago. But I made it, I'm here. I'm glad to see that you guys put on number 3, the mayor has approved and authorized the Board of Public Works to execute the updated First Amendment. You see why this is so important for people like me? For you guys listening, I was born and raised in the cult of Scientology, so we're here literally trying to get access to my father, where they closed down all the streets around the Shrine Auditorium, closed down the sidewalks, didn't have a permit for it, but this literally started only 3 years ago, the moment I was filming to see my dad, and he happened to be pushing a dish cart while I was screaming his name because the police and Public Works lied about a permit that they didn't have. I could have been there walking with my father telling him it is okay for him to leave. But Scientology doesn't do that. In Public Works, you're giving them the permits to close down these fake sidewalks in the streets for no reason. This was during a game at LACC. During this, they still gave them, because Scientology paid $42,000 just for 5 hours of blocking down the Shrine Auditorium so that people like myself can't openly talk to my parents and tell them it's okay to leave. So stop giving Scientology permits. That's one thing, because that's all they use them for, is recruiting and getting people from out of the country in their locked up, where they lock up their passports, their IDs, they don't give them permission, but then say, oh, you can be here on an R1 visa. The religion will keep you here intact. And then they get trapped here and they're stuck in a cult. And they can't get out, they can't do anything. Because Public Works, this department, has allowed for several years for them to take over the Christmas parade money. They spent all the money that is opening up Bridge for Wonderland, Hollywood Parade, all run by Scientology, Author Services, Galaxy Press, all organizations that I was born and raised in. $47 a week. Every single member in that cult is getting less than $47 a week. They do not believe in mental health care. They cannot go to Cedars-Sinai if they have a breakdown or a mental situation or a health situation. They have to handle it through Scientology abusive auditing, which is fake. There's nothing about it that works. It's a dangerous cult, and Public Works keeps giving them all sorts of permits that they don't use for anything to help the city. They use up their tax money, don't support it. They call the fire department, call the LAPD on protesters exposing it. Stop giving them these permits. The last thing is, everybody, can you please request the board to put up revocable permit for L1 Hubbard Way? It needs to be changed back to North Beretta Street. It's not a cult member's fucking name.
Thank you very much. We will transition to our virtual comments.
Thank you, President Kang. And we'll start with Georgina McPhee, followed by Gigi. Please indicate which item you're speaking on, and you have 3 minutes.
I'm going to just speak on the minutes and move on to agenda items. For the minutes, the fact that these complaints are not reflected in the minutes is a problem. Each week we repeat ourselves with the same complaints, with new complaints over and over again. None of them are addressed, none of them are reflected in the minutes.
I'm gonna go to the city council. I'll be at the city council, just in case. Yes. Did you register for city council yet? Okay.
For you to address these changes. I hope